So what would happen if you took all of the guitars from a song, threw them away, and then re-recorded them on one of these? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to a slightly different video just for this 1 week, all about this little guy. For those who know what it is, it's a Marshall MS-2 micro amp. It's got a little 2-inch speaker, they're about 30 quid, and as guitarists we've pretty much all owned one or been given one at some point. They're really good fun and they sound as you'd expect in a little plastic case and being 30 quid. But I've just been making an album and it's been sat on my desk all this time and I keep looking at it thinking like, what would it sound like if you did a whole song where all the guitars are through one of these, and would anyone care? So that's what this video is going to be about. For those that don't know, I just made a 172 musician album under the name Andy B in the World, and going to use one of the songs to re-record the guitars from that album just to test this idea out. So for those that haven't heard it, here's our song Black and Blue and its original guys on the album, just for reference.
We are alive and there is something in the air. Forgot differences found common ground we share.
So yeah, that's how that sounds, and if you did get and wanted to check the album out, I'll put a link to find it in the description below. The guitars are recorded with a Marshall Jubilee head, and like to my right I've got Mesa Boogies, Marshalls, Oranges, all sorts of nice amps, but not everyone has access to that, and I was really intrigued by the premise of just how well you could do with a 30 quid amp, like as budget as it gets really in terms of amplifiers, and see just how good a sound it could actually produce mic'd up on a recording. So that's what this is all about. There'll be a full playthrough of how it sounds at the end, but first we'll dig into the how and the why. Why not? Well, let's delve in. Alright, here we go. Here's the desktop setup. We've got the Marshall MS-2 here. We are micing up with an M160, which is the one I chose. It's on a little kind of foam riser just to keep it off the table. And one of my neck scarf things here, face mask, to keep it off the table and keep the reflections from hitting the microphone, because it needs no help with that. So here in the Cubase session, I actually did another couple of playthroughs, and so this one here and this one here are DI signals from the guitar. I'll do another video on that if you need to know how to do that, but it basically is a carbon copy of the guitar track you play. So I just did a once through of each one of those. That's 2 double tracks, well, a double track for the left and right for the main rhythm. That's the clean guitar there, so the scale bits, and that's the little lead bit at the front. I didn't do the solo because Greg played that and did a rad job of it, so I thought we'd leave that in place. So that's the old guitar there, so we can hear back to it. Play it nice and quiet. So yeah, that's the old guitar, it's pretty raucous. That there is the old clean. And this here, let's make sure these are muted still, and this here is the old lead. So cool, there we go. So in the Cubase session here, we've got these DIs and I need to send them back through the MS-2 here. So what I've done is in audio connections, I'm not sure how it is in Logic and Pro Tools, but here in Cubase, we go to outputs and we create a reamp channel here. Actually, I'll show you how I did it. So let's just get rid of that. So how I did this was go to add bus, a mono track here, and it'll show up here. Just make sure it's coming out of line out, and then yeah, that's it basically. Close that up, and then we just make sure the output of this is going to the mono out there, which means it's coming out of the reamp box and back into the MS-2 here. So let's just double check that's coming through. So we'll solo this here. There it is. Obviously that's pretty clean. So what we're going to do is whack it up into its distortion channel. They have a bit of a problem. They like to kind of, they rattle a bit. So we need to keep the volume low enough so it doesn't rattle, but high enough so that it's still kind of punchy. So we'll just scope that I mean, sounds relatively good. I used my Squire 51 for it, for all the things. I changed the strings right before, so they were as bright as possible. It's running a Pearly Gates Seymour Duncan in the bridge. Sounds pretty nice. So that's kind of, I feel like that's roughly as I want it to sound. So I'm just going to check in the headphones and we'll move the microphone around to make sure it's sounding all good. So in the session here, we are running a Neve preamp here, so we'll get a level coming through. So all I've done there is add a little bit of high pass filter to it and brought the gain up a bit and added a little bit of high shelf in there as well, because it's a kind of, the amp's very focused around the mid-range, which is very much where the voice sits, and it's nice to have a little bit of crispness too. I mean, it's only a small speaker, so it's doing a great job nonetheless, but that's kind of how we want it to sound. So with that coming through in Cubase, so this little bad boy is doing a great job. We've got a nice channel here, so we're going to bring it, so what I've done is create a channel for each one, so they're color coded here, and I'll let it play through each one, and then we will come into these bits and then they'll all match up. So let's let it play through. Okay, so that's the overdriven rhythm guitar double track done. They're here on the screen. All I've done is add a little bit to each side of Fab Filter here. Taken a couple of notches here where the cab had a bit of resonance. So a little bit of dynamic EQ here. Without it, just kind of cleans it up a bit. And so now we need to move on to the clean channel. So what we're going to do here is pull the amp back to clean. In fact, I'll show you what it sounds like between the two. So this is the clean guitar here and the DI, and when I was making these DIs I was recording through my aux as well at the same time. I just didn't print the guitar signal, it was just so I could get a feel and just lay the clean DI down, because it's not, you don't have that much feel when you're just playing clean. So I kind of rocked out a bit for a few takes. But I didn't spend ages, you know, making like a comp take of many different bits that were perfect. You just kind of went through them. It's quite a simple song anyway, but I didn't want it to be like, you know, this isn't about my playing, this is about the sound of this cute little amp. Anyway, so here's the clean sound here. I'm just going to solo it, so we'll hear it through the amp. Now, the guitar in this song, in the actual album, is actually a bit dirty. It's not completely clean, but that might be a bit too much, so let's try it on its clean setting. It's quite nice. Let's pull it back up a bit so it dirties up. And there's that rattle. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That sounds good. Okay, cool. That's the clean guitars in. They sound kind of like this on their own. So what I did, I just added this EQ here, and I just took some, took some of the low end out. It's a little bit of high pass filter, added some 8K shelf, a little bit of a boost around, where are we, 1.3K, and a little bit higher than I normally go maybe, but you know, it's a less low down amp. And then I just took out this area here, so I'll show you what that's doing, because without it, it sounds like this, and with the EQ, just a bit better. Like that low end here, it's a bit wobbly, so just kind of took that out, made it a little bit kind of more, a little bit nicer. And so that just leaves us with the lead guitar. So I thought we'd do something a little bit unusual. Rather than use the distortion on the amp, we'd push it with a tube screamer. So put my max on in the circuit. So this is what it sounds like without. So let's just find it on its own a sec. And with. Yes. It's going to push it pretty hard. Yeah. So let's record that in. So with that done, let's have a little play with the guitars and get them sound a little bit better. So I have had a little listen to them in the mix on my own and kind of know where I want to go with this. So I'll show you in solo so we can hear things properly. That's the guitars as they are. We'll add this good old channel here, and let's have a little play with that. Sounded pretty cool. I will just add a bit of compression on top of that as well, and I really like the waves It's the LA3A here, which is an LA3A comp. Let's hear it in the track. I mean, it has a very definite sound. There's no escaping the fact that it's tiny. I mean, like, you know, it's like the size of my hand here, basically. But, yeah, I mean, it costs 30 quid, if that. And it's a fun little bit of kit. We always used to have one in the tour bus in the day. We used to play with it all the time. This is my second one of these. And they're really good fun. So, I think we should probably think about having a listen to the whole thing with everything in. Alright, so what's our takeaway from all of this? I mean, yeah, you absolutely can record one of these and put it in a mix, and it's kind of passable. It won't sound like an expensive song or an expensive amp for sure, but it's only a wee little thing. I will say that the plastic enclosure and the kind of way it's built does kind of warble a bit, and when you take those warbly noises out, there's not a lot left, but there's many points when I can see like a dense mix with proper guitars in it where, like, if there's a little sonic hole, you could fill it with one of these with an extra guitar layer, and it would really work really well. That's cool. It's just a cool little thing. It was really fun to do. I would love to hear in the comments of what you thought of how it came out, what you thought it sounded like, any other ways maybe you've tried it before, or maybe you're thinking of trying it. If you do, please do post the results. I would love to see it. I'd be genuinely intrigued. Anyway, that is all for this week. Thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe if you enjoy what we do, or check out the album if you haven't before. That would be awesome too. Anyway, stay safe, stay lovely, stay awesome. Catch you later.